Have you ever got to your desk at work and you're sipping on your morning coffee and you think to yourself, do you know what? I almost don't even remember driving here. Maybe it's not driving to work. Maybe it's going to the supermarket. If you do the same thing over and over again, your brain picks up, aha, this is a pattern. This is a habit. And basically, to help save your brain a little bit of space, it will remember it and it will almost automatically take you there without thinking about it. So in the same way that it does that for driving, it also does that for drinking, for eating, for anything that you do over and over again. And sometimes that can be super helpful. Thinking about brushing your teeth, you don't have to think about that very much. But when it comes to these habits and behaviours that we have around food, when you find yourself with a glass of vino in your hand and you're like, do you know what? I almost don't even remember pouring that glass of wine. It's like it literally just hopped out the fridge into my glass. It's just because your brain has figured out that this is something that's happened over and over again and almost takes you there, much like driving, without thinking about it. So what can you do? Well, nugget of inspiration for a healthier, happy 2022 today is all about managing access. And that's because basically with a habit, there's a trigger, which is basically your brain signal that we're going on autopilot here. We're making this happen. I've seen this before. So that is getting in the car and driving to work, right? You get in the car, you know where you're going. So that is the trigger at the beginning. Then you've got the behavior, which is the eating and the drinking. And then you get a reward at the end, which is feeling relaxed. Your tummy is full. And that you go through that kind of process. So I'll take you through habits and how that all works on a later video. But for now, we want to think about this first step of what starts a habit, and that is a trigger. And the trigger can be many, many things. As I've talked about in a previous video, it can be an emotion, a feeling, something that drives the behavior, but also just seeing food or seeing drink is a trigger for you to start eating. Because what you've got to remember is that even though we live in this world of excess and plenty, our brains are still designed and still function very much on a level of survival. So they think, oh, if I see food, if I see something that looks tasty or smells good, then maybe I need to eat that, okay? And in our modern kitchens, when everything is kind of open plan, in a lot of kitchens, you know, I know that some people have food on their kitchen benches, jars of nuts, still can't talk in these videos, jars of nuts in, you know, they're kind of like see-through. Anything that is easy to access is a trigger for your brain to eat or drink, maybe when you don't need to. So again, let's park the willpower. Willpower is like a muscle that wears out, and as soon as your grey matter, that logic reasoning part of the brain gets tired, or basically you just kind of, it gets too much. It doesn't really work anymore. So we want to park the willpower and manage access. So here are some practical things that you can do to remove the trigger, okay? So when it comes to alcohol is one of the easiest things to remove from your environment. So I'm still camping. I stole some drinks from my friend's chili bin because I don't drink alcohol at the moment. These kind of things. So whether it's beer, like beer is horrible warm, okay? So if you're trying to drink less alcohol, do not put it in the fridge. Keep it out of the fridge. If it's white wine that you drink, don't chill it unless you're consciously planning to drink it. If you've got, this is red wine here, whatever type of wine, put it in the garage, put it out of your sight, make it less accessible and less tasty. If you have to walk further to go and get it, it's a barrier between that automatic reaction of opening the fridge and then pouring yourself a drink. If you've actually got to walk downstairs, then it can act as a little bit of a time shift barrier. So put a barrier between you and it. So with alcohol, don't chill it. The other thing there is actually making the healthier choice easier to access. So maybe it's your kombucha, sparkling water, chilled water, all the non-alcoholic range of drinks that are available. Make them easier to access, so that could be the first choice. So that's drinks. Food. It is time to put your Christmas cake away. Don't have it on the bench. If you've got chocolates or whatever left over from the festive season, either get rid of them. They are not better in your body than going in the bin or going somewhere else. Like, there is a cost to it. I'm absolutely, all about reducing food waste. But when we have food in our house that we feel obliged to eat, and then when you eat it, you feel terrible about yourself, there's a cost to that. It's expensive. It's expensive for your mental well-being if you're eating something that you did not need to eat. So it may be time that some of those things need to go away, go in the freezer, or actually, if there's foods that you don't want to be eating, like the chocolates and bits and pieces, just get rid of them. Somehow get rid of them, okay? Or make them less easy to access. So that means putting, if you've got any bags of chips or chocolate or Christmas cake or any mince pies or whatever left, out of reach. So you literally have to get on a chair in the pantry to get it. It's the top area where it's inconvenient to get it. It puts a barrier between you and it. And what that is doing is that's kind of blocking the trigger, okay? So it's making it slightly less automatic because you either have to get on a chair or you have to awkwardly kind of get up to get it, which allows your brain to kick into conscious mode and go, hang on a minute, do I really need that mince pie or that piece of, cake? If it's on the bench with a knife next to it, you literally walk past it, put a little nibbly slice off and walk past, and you're like, do you know what? I don't even remember eating that Christmas cake, right? So make it harder to access. So any of those foods, dark containers, non-transparent containers, out of reach. I do this myself, right? I trained to be a dietitian in the year 2000, right? It is now 2022. And I still do this stuff because so much of your eating habits and behaviours are subconscious. Even I need to do this stuff to keep myself on track. And then when I consciously want to eat something, I can. But now I don't do any of that nibbling and picking, or very little subconsciously, because I have got these kind of access barriers in place. The other thing you may have seen on my social media feed, my famous veggie box. You make it easier to access the healthier options. So this is the veggie box. I've even brought it camping with me. We're a day in now, so it's kind of partly been raided. But basically, I chop up veggies, make them easy to access, put a piece of paper towel on top to stop them going dry, and that will last a good couple of days. That's the easiest thing to access in the fridge, making it easier to make the healthier choice. So, in summary, tip number 5, you need to manage your access to food to make it easier to make the healthier choice. Don't rely on willpower. Let's reprogram those habits for a healthier, happier 2022. So good luck with that. Let me know if you've got any questions. I would also love to know what other topics you want me to cover on these videos, anything you're struggling with, any ideas you need, and I can cover them in future videos. But I look forward to your comments and ideas, and I will chat to you again tomorrow.